Before we get in the NBA, next week we're doing something on CBS Sports Radio. We're ranking the best teams of the last 30 years, and we're looking at college basketball teams. And I got to tell you, we were stuck between the 96 Kentucky Wildcats and the 2012 Kentucky Wildcats. I have a feeling which way you vote, but help me make the case for 96.
Well, I mean, it's not even close. I think when you look at, and it's not me being biased, but you look at our body of work, the margin of victory in which we won, I think it was like 23 or 24. The number of pros that were produced from that team, I think it was like 9. But the way we played, it's the dominance and the margin of victory, it speaks for itself. And the player success after being in college, too, you add that to it. That's why I think we're arguably the best team to ever play.
Were you the first Kentucky team that just stacked pros, that it was kind of too deep pro at every position? Because then afterwards, I know, I feel like Coach Cal did that a lot. But this team, you had 9 pros in a time when teams didn't have 9 pros.
Yeah, our practices were tougher than our games, and that's not to take anything away from our competition that year. But literally, our practice used to be unbelievable because we were so stacked in position. So you had to compete every day. And that's what really made our team really, really great.
Antoine Walker here with us. Damian Lillard is one of the biggest conversations right now in the NBA. All these reports that he only wants to get traded to Miami, that he doesn't want to go to Boston. If Dame did hit you up and ask you, Antoine, why he should consider Boston, what would you tell him being a former Celtic?
Obviously, I'm biased in that decision, even though I won a championship with the Heat. So it's different. But I think if I was him, I would look at situations with opportunity. I think we all think about Dame and his career and where it's at. If he's got an opportunity, especially if Boston doesn't have to give up a lot to get him and they're able to be on a championship contender, you go play for a championship. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think it's where he wants to be in his career. If he goes to Miami, even though we know Miami made it to these conference finals, they're starting to lose pieces on that. They're going to lose some pieces on that roster. So you got to think about where he wants to be in his career. Does he want to compete for a title? I think it's a better chance in Boston.
We're talking to Antoine Walker, former NBA All-Star. Do you think it's possible that Dame, if he doesn't get the trade to the Heat, stays in Portland and maybe holds out in Portland? There was a report that his agent's putting out there that he's going to hold out unless he lands in Miami.
I don't think. I just think it puts a bad seed out there for himself to do that. I mean, you don't want to box yourself into one team in one situation. So hopefully he doesn't do that. And one thing, Dame has a big salary that goes along with him. I mean, so he's going to be limited in what teams can be able to do. Is one, to try to get the money to pay him, the assets that they're going to have to give up, the money, the cap room and space. So it's a lot that goes along with just acquiring Damian Lillard on top of him just being a great ball player. So I think he has to be very cautious, to say the least, about how he tries to orchestrate this. I think he's made a point to, obviously, Portland saying that he wants to go to Miami. I know Pat Riley's probably going to do whatever he can to add an asset like that to go alongside Jimmy Butler. But I think don't box yourself into a corner. I think you do not want to do that. He's making too much money, so that his teams are going to be very limited, for him.
For years and years and years, he stayed loyal to Portland. And whenever someone would say, did you want to request a trade or go somewhere else, he would say no. When this finally came down earlier in the week that he told the management team there in Portland that he wants out and he wants to go to Miami, were you surprised by that, or did you kind of feel like this was brewing and this was eventually going to happen?
Well, I think the direction of the Portland Trail Blazers is to get younger. They're not going to be able probably to add the pieces that's needed around him. Portland's not a big free agent destination. They got to do it through the draft. They're not a team that free agents want to sign there, honestly. And it's not because of Portland. It's not, that's a different type of city. Portland's not, a city that has a lot of attraction. And free agents sometimes like to go places where, the Miamis, the New Yorks, the Chicago, some of these bigger markets have a better chance of landing big-time free agents. So their back is against the wall a little bit. So that's where that comes in at and play at. So I just think that all those things play a part. And you've seen that throughout Dame's career of being able to add pieces around him.
Antoine, there seems to be a trend where some of the older players, the older expensive players, don't have a huge market out there. James Harden opted in Philadelphia, and there are reports that not a lot of teams want to trade for him. I think Kyrie's market was a little bit down, obviously Russell Westbrook. Do you think this is teams are getting smart, or do these older players have more to offer and maybe could help a team win a title?
It's hard to double dip, Doug. It's hard when they think guys are past their prime and they get to that end where they still are big name guys, but how much do they have left in the tank? And I think teams are reluctant to lock in for another 4 or 5 years. So I think that's why the market's small. Even look at Kyrie's deal. I think if I'm not mistaken, it's only a 3-year deal, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they're not locking into guys. The older guys, the guys that are probably in their 30s, they're not locking into those guys now. So I think that's just what it is. I just think that's what the teams are looking at value of players. They can get younger, start with the younger couple guys, young group of guys, and build up to that. So I think that's what's happening right now in the league.
Antoine Walker, if you were Brad Stevens and if you were running the Celtics, would you offer Jaylen Brown in a package to go acquire Damian Lillard?
No, I would not do it. Not that I don't have a lot of respect and think Dame's a great player. I just think with the Celtics, I mean, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, you've been to a finals with those guys. You've had nothing but success. These guys have made deep playoff runs. Why not keep it together? Continue to add pieces around them. They're right there, this core group to win the title. They've been there before. I think you keep it together. It's very unique that you get two dynamic players in their prime and be able to play this all the way out through. I think you re-sign them and you continue to add pieces around those guys. I think they definitely get one.
Is Joe Mazzulla the right coach to get them where they want to go?
Maybe a couple of years ago I probably would have said no, but you got to think about it. He's gaining experience too. You got to think about what he's learned over the last couple of years, taking over, in that situation. So he's going to become a better coach and be better. He knows these two stars. I'm pretty sure they have a great relationship. So he definitely could be that coach because he's got on training. He's been there. He's got experience. He's been in big games. He's been in meaningful games. He's only going to get better in those situations.
Antoine Walker here with us. Victor Wembanyama makes his Summer League debut tonight. What are your expectations for Victor in year one?
It's going to be tough. They're going to have to continue to put pieces around them and good players around them. The league is different. It's always tough for guys at his size, 7'5". They're going to have to be able to guard this level. Guys are going to go at him. That's one thing that's going to be a problem. Got to figure out a way he's going to be able to score. He's not a guy that plays with his back to the basket. It's everything going to be pick and pop, jump shots, putting it on the floor, trying to deck it. It's going to be really tough to do at his size. So he's going to have to figure out the program and how he can be effective. But he has all the tool sets, his skill set. I think Popovich is the best coach for him because Pop is going to take that pressure off of him. He's going to stop myself and you guys from killing him. He's going to stop us from really going at him and letting this guy develop into a good ball player. Now, whether or not he's going to be a superstar, all-star, no, but I do believe he's going to be a very good NBA player because of his skill set. How good he's going to be is all going to be based on him and how much he develops.
Antoine, you went in against Sean Bradley, I believe, in your career, and Yao Ming, guys who were 7'5". Offensively, how did you approach a guy like that? Did you stay away from them?
I played with Sean Bradley, so going against him in practice, they're going to block your shot. It's going to be very difficult to go into their body. Me, I had a skill set where I could put the ball on the floor and take a bigger guy outside. So that's what I would try to use my quickness and get around him with my dribble. I think it'll be the same thing for Victor and guarding guys quicker. Yeah, I think we got centers, the Embiid, Jokic, MVP, Giannis, taller guys that step out, shoot threes, and put the ball on the floor. So it's going to be a learning curve for him, too, as well, because he's going to have to get on the floor and defend like he never had to defend before. He's not going to be able to lay back in the lane and just sit there because these big guys now in the league shoot threes.
Last one for me, Antoine Walker. Just getting back to Dame. Do you ultimately think he'll get what he wants and he'll get traded at some point this offseason to Miami?
I think he'll get what he wants. Miami could fall off the table if things don't go right. I think the organization has a ton of respect for him. Obviously, they've paid him. They've done everything. They're in a rebuilding stage. I mean, to pay a guy $50, $60 million, and then you don't know if you're going to make the playoffs. It's probably very difficult to do. So I think they're going to honor this. They're going to get him traded to the right situation, but they want some value back, and they should. I mean, this is a Hall of Fame point guard that still has good legs, still has a lot left in the tank. Why not get some value back for him? So Portland has to be stubborn in this case and make sure they get – you're probably not going to get equal value, but you don't want to flip your organization upside down, but you want to get something back in return.
All right, Antoine, I looked at the 2012 Kentucky roster. If you guys went head-to-head, you'd have to shut down Anthony Davis. Would you be up to that job?
Easy.
Will he even be healthy? Let's be real.
Yeah.
Nah, he's a great player, but you got to think, though, I got a little help. Walter McCartney was 6'8", 6'9", too now. I got a little help.
I mean, your team was ridiculous. Tony Delk, so many NBA players. Yeah, no, you're definitely – I'm putting you on the list. And now, with your blessing, maybe even number one. And I don't like Duke, so I'll gladly do that. But, Antoine, we really appreciate the time.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.